Welcome. It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Long Beach today, and we are joined by Dr. Felton Williams. He is the president of the Long Beach Unified School District. So I'd like to speak with you about the new standardized testing formula, Smarter Balanced Assessment. Sadly, the first results have come out. Here's the headline from the LA Times. Low student test scores show a work in progress. One could argue that's a kind headline, given what we saw statewide. The students received 44% in English in terms of meet or exceeds expectations, and 33% in math. Troubling?
It
or
is
not?
It is troubling, Brad, but to be expected.
Okay.
We have to understand that this is a new assessment. The last time when we went through the STAR, we had the same situation. Right. Our teachers have to get acclimated to the standards, and our students have to get acclimated to the process. We're asking students to do something entirely different.
It is a different beast. There's no doubt about it. The test is adaptive, and so depending on how you answer questions, the questions could get harder or easier. They're all on computers, which for some students could be tricky.
A challenge.
And as I understand it, the questions also they go a little deeper than the surface. When we look at Long Beach specifically, the scores are just a bit below the state by about 2 points. But then you look at certain high schools, for example, Jordan High School scores were troubling, to say the least. 26% in English, 8% in math in terms of meeting standards. Whereas on the flip side, you have a school like, let's say, Poly, where it's 62% English meeting standards and 35% meeting math.
And demographics clearly explains a lot of that. We've been consistent with that throughout time, and we put a lot of emphasis in those schools where we need to get the scores up in terms of extra support, personnel, staff, and that kind of thing. But just a note, as we look at Long Beach, in terms of English language arts achievements, we meet or exceed by 42%, district-wide.
Right,
and
that is true. Math
achievement overall, we meet and exceed by 31%.
But it begs the question, why is it that the English scores almost uniformly are much higher than the math scores? I mean, look at Milken, look at Poly. I mean, there's a 30-point spread. You know, Milken and Poly, they're in the mid-60s for meeting achievement in English, and low to mid-30s in math. What's going on here?
Math has always been a gatekeeper, not just here in Long Beach, but nationwide. And there's a lot of unexplained reasons why we are there. But we've seen under our old system, we were making some major improvements under our old system. Now that we've gone to Common Core, we're going to have to start this thing all over again so we can get at least sort of back to where we were under our old system.
Are you concerned about Common Core? In certain parts of the country, there's a lot of concern about Common Core. California doesn't seem to be as uptight, upset about it, but there are pockets in California where there's a lot of angst. What's your sense?
You know, Brad.
And I ask you, by the way, as a doctor of education, as well as a president of the school board.
The initial overture for Common Core was quite good, because Common Core would really replace No Child Left Behind.
Right. And let's break that out, because I do think it's important. When you look at No Child Left Behind, as I understand it, there was a tremendous focus on reading, writing, arithmetic, drill and kill, get that information into the brain as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Common Core, as we described, may be fewer subjects, fewer topics, but a lot deeper. Intuitively that seems like a positive development, where you can become more of an expert, go deeper into an area as opposed to just stay on the surface. But what we see is kids are struggling on this.
And Brad, you're absolutely right. And that's why they were having this gap. Common Core, unlike the other system where you had to memorize facts, names and dates.
Right.
Common Core asks you to think analytically, to reason, and to go back and justify why something is the way it is.
Right. I mean, I was looking at the LA Times article, for example, and it talked about how, my guess is this is for the student that had been doing well and they were adapting to go to the highest level. And one of the questions was, they're actually asking the student to explain why this five-eyed creature could not make a group with 24 eyes. It was looking at the math. Explain. I mean, I've never seen a standardized test where you have to explain something.
And see, that's the rub. It's analytical. But people who are kind of resistant to this have to understand that that's what the world demands today.
It's analysis.
In the world that we live in, and people have complained about not having students who can go out into the workforce who have that analytical mindset. But the problems that we have today, how do you resolve pollution? How do you resolve warming?
Global warming.
Global warming. They don't adhere to yes and no's.
I have a question. I don't know if we know the answer to this. Well, we looked at the Jordan High School numbers. We know demographically it's a community that's more challenged economically. With the STAR testing, we saw oftentimes communities of color, communities economically disadvantaged had lower scores. Are we seeing that here with Smarter Balance, the community of color?
Yeah, some things are persistent, and the common denominator in that, Brad, is poverty.
It is.
Where you have a concentration of poverty and parents who have not gone through schooling, not gone to college, so not being able to shift and direct their children along the right path. Then you've got other impediments in the environment. You've got gangs who are vying for the attention of the kids. So you've got a lot of roadblocks out there that you have to hit.
And I want to ask you about poverty, because when I think about Common Core, there's a tremendous emphasis on technology. And technology costs money.
It does.
And so if we're expecting these children to be able to excel on a test that is developed and offered on a computer, if they don't have access to computers at home, let alone school, how are they going to be able to show their personal best?
And that's an excellent question. The board grappled with that as we were looking at this. So one of the things we did, Brad, is we asked the superintendent to make sure that the kids got practice, especially the kids in some of our challenging neighborhoods, that the labs were open to those kids, and we purchased typing
keyboards,
so the kids could get practice in knowing how to work those keyboards. Now, it'll take probably another year or two before all of that is totally integrated, but right now we're working on that, Brad, and that's a very good analysis. We knew that would probably be a stumbling block or an impediment for some of our kids who, for whatever reason, have never had the opportunity to get that.
So how are your teachers doing? Are they analyzing these scores, trying to figure out how to take their students to the next level? Right.
And this is the beauty of our system. The tests allow our teachers to drill right down to the
it's adaptive.
That's the beauty of it, and to get right at the crux of whatever that particular student is being challenged with. I mean, they got that kind of capacity now with our system, and it's really amazing that we get that much detail, finite detail, in terms of understanding what each kid needs.
If you can come back, I'd like to talk to you about some of the details, because I know the results were just released, so I'd love to hear what we're seeing as we dig deeper, which is what Common Core does. It digs deeper. His name is Dr. Felton Williams. He is the president of the Long Beach Unified School District. My name is Brad Pomerance in Long Beach today. This is Charter Local Edition.